Alright, so my name is Nicholas Giudici, and um, I'm an assistant professor in School of Computing and Information Science here at UMaine. And I came to University of Maine in 2008. And since then I've started the Virtual Environment and Multimodal Interaction Lab, which is a long name. You can call it the VIMI Lab. I teach here in the School of Computing and Information Science and do research on how we learn about and act in space using different senses: vision, touch, hearing, and the like.
How has technology helped you?
Technology plays a huge role in both the research that I do, in the type of research that I do that is very technically based. But in terms of assistive technology, it's played a big role in access to information. So my computer speaks, so everything that you see on your reader, which you can think of as kind of a text-to-speech engine, but instead of just reading documents, it also allows me to go into the menus and track where the cursor is, in dialog boxes and doing system functions, as well as just reading documents. And so this has made it possible to access a huge amount of information, a huge amount of text-based information that otherwise you wouldn't be able to use or access, or that you would need to have in Braille, which is this book is an example of Braille, which is hard copy output, similar you'd get if you printed a print document. But the problem is that Braille is huge. It's very large. They call a junior dictionary, I remember growing up, was 22 volumes that were each twice as thick as this. And it's not dynamic, so you couldn't go on the web and you'd have to print everything out or Braille everything out and then read it. So by having technology, auditory screen reading technology, it provides access to a huge amount of material that's critical for my work as a researcher and as a professor, in reading articles and writing articles and reading people's papers, as well as just doing my own, if I want to go home and look something up on the internet. Another important piece of technology is what you can think of as a portable note taker, almost like a laptop, but it has Braille input, a Braille keyboard, which consists of just 6 or 8 keys.
Can you hold that up?
Yeah.
There?
So this is a Braille keyboard here. These are how you type. Instead of having a one-to-one correspondence like having the A and a B key, you do different combinations of keys to make the letters, which is called a chorded keyboard. It's similar to what a court stenographer would use when taking notes. And then this is a Braille display, so you can see how it changes as I scroll through. These dots are changing, so it's coming up. Instead of having a fixed book like this, it's called the dynamic or refreshable Braille display. So it's using little piezoelectric elements that change as I go through a document. Right now I'm scanning through a menu. So it's saying database, internet, Bluetooth manager. So I'm going through, as I'm scrolling through like you might do with the mouse, it's putting up these dots. And you can use this for, again, reading documents, taking notes. When I teach class, I read my notes off this. It also speaks. This has a turning it on.
Saved options period. Database manager left parenthesis. T right parenthesis.
So you can hear it's a synthesized voice, but it allows for speech and Braille output and Braille input. So it's a very flexible device, and I use this all the time. So yeah, those are the main ways that I would say that I use. I mean, there's lots of pieces of technology that I use, but those are the two main ones that I use on I would say on a daily basis.
My next question is, if you technology would you see being useful for you?
Technology I see is mostly a way of getting access to information, and that's what useful technology does, at least in the accessibility domain, what we're talking about. So one of the things that would be hugely useful would be, well, there's a couple, but one of them is access to graphics. So all the stuff that we're talking about, the screen readers and this portable device, it's reading textual information. But what happens if you get a picture of someone, or you're looking at a graph, or you're looking at a map? The huge amount of the the information that we interact with is graphical. It's not text-based. There's no way to access that. You can braille out. So you imagine this book now, and you can use dots to make a shape, but that's very slow and very coarse, and it's not practical on a real-time basis. So finding technology that could render graphics in a real quickly, so could change. Okay, there's the checkout desk or the check-in desk, and there's the elevator, and so you know where to go. I can use my GPS to get to the hotel, but when I get inside of the lobby, I have no idea where the hell everything is, and so that can be very frustrating. The dog, my guide dog Euro, helps me to not run into things, but he can't know exactly where, you know, the line is or the check-in desk is. So having something that could, again, provide a description of that space, whether it's through a graphic or through a text description, but that could take a real-time image and give information about the useful parts of that image, where a seat is, where the stairs are, where a drinking fountain is, where the bar stool is, or what have you. That would be very useful.
Trying to think if there's one. Is there anything else that you can think of?
I can think of lots of things, but those are the two that I think are the most relevant to access and accessibility needs that aren't being met given current technology. And that would be useful on kind of a daily basis.
Okay. All right. I think